A single cloud was glowing in the sky, and it was alive. Not alive the way trees are alive, with roots and rings and patience, but alive the way music is alive, shimmering, humming, drifting with purpose through the warm golden evening above Honeywood Forest. And two little bear cubs were about to discover it. Milo noticed it first. He always noticed things first because he was brave and curious and had the biggest, roundest eyes of any bear cub in the whole forest. His soft brown fur caught the last rays of sunlight as he stood on the mossy doorstep of the cozy tree stump home he shared with his little sister and their mama. He had just finished his supper of honey-drizzled berries, and his belly was warm and full, and the evening air smelled like clover and pine needles and the faintest trace of something sweet he could not name. He tilted his head back to watch the sun set, as he did every evening, and that was when he saw it. A cloud, just one single cloud, drifting across the amber sky. But this cloud was different from any cloud he had ever seen. It was glowing. Soft swirling colors moved through it like paint stirred slowly in water, pink melting into gold, gold dissolving into lavender, lavender deepening into the most peaceful blue Milo had ever imagined. The cloud seemed to pulse gently as though it were breathing, and it was drifting lower. Lower and lower, past the place where the hawks circled, past the tops of the tallest oaks, until it hovered just above the treetops of Honeywood Forest, humming a melody so gentle it sounded like a lullaby sung from very far away. Bella appeared beside him. She was smaller than Milo, with the softest fur and a little pink bow tucked between her round ears, and she had the sweetest giggle in the whole forest, the kind of giggle that made flowers lean closer and butterflies pause mid-flight. She pressed against her brother's side and looked up, and her dark eyes went wide with wonder. Without thinking, she reached her little paws toward the sky, stretching up on her tiptoes as though she could catch the glowing cloud in her arms. And to both cubs' amazement, the cloud descended. It drifted down through the branches, parting the leaves with the gentlest whisper, and settled in the meadow just beyond their doorstep. It was soft as a pillow, warm as a blanket fresh from the sun. It rested on the grass without crushing a single blade, and from somewhere deep within its cottony folds came a voice, a friendly.
Hello, little one. Welcome to my cozy cloud.
A musical voice that sounded exactly like wind chimes ringing on a summer porch. The cloud told them its name was Nimbus. It explained in that gentle, chimming way that every night it traveled across the entire world, collecting sleepy dust from the most peaceful places imaginable. Moonlit lakes where the water lay still as glass, fields of lavender that stretched purple to the horizon, snowy mountaintops where the silence was so deep it felt like a hug. Nimbus gathered this precious dust and sprinkled it over little ones everywhere to help them fall asleep. Tonight, Nimbus said, there were 3 last sprinkles of sleepy dust still to collect, and the cloud wondered if 2 brave little bear cubs might like to come along and help. Milo looked at Bella. Bella looked at Milo. Greek, time, equal sign, 900 ms. Then Bella giggled, that sweet, irresistible giggle, and Milo took her paw and together they climbed onto the cloud. They sank into its plush, cottony surface, as though sinking into the softest bed ever made, and the cloud smelled like warm vanilla and rain-washed roses, and before they could even catch their breath, Nimbus rose. Slowly, gently, like a bubble floating upward through honey, the magical cloud lifted them above the meadow, above the tree stump home, above the tallest trees of Honeywood Forest. Milo peered over the edge and saw their home glowing warmly below, a tiny golden light in a sea of green, and he felt a swell of love in his chest, so big it made his eyes sting. Their first stop was the Whispering Meadow. Nimbus glided over a vast field of tall grass that swayed back and forth in a rhythm so slow and steady it looked like the earth itself was breathing. Fireflies rose from the grass in spirals, dancing in dreamy loops, their tiny lights blinking gold and green and soft amber. The air here was thick with the scent of chamomile, and everything moved as though time had decided to be gentle. Bella leaned over the edge of the cloud and cupped her little paws together, and a single golden sprinkle of sleepy dust floated up from the meadow and settled into her palms like a tiny, captured star. She yawned the tiniest yawn, so small it barely parted her lips, and Milo smiled at her. Their second stop was the Moonlit Pond. Nimbus descended toward a clearing where a perfectly round pond lay cradled between mossy banks, its surface so still it held the moon's reflection like a mirror holding a secret. Silverfish leaped in gentle arcs above the water, their scales catching moonlight and scattering it in tiny diamonds across the darkness. The air was cool here, fresh and clean, carrying the soft sound of water, lapping against smooth stones. Milo reached down and dipped his paw into the pond, and the moment his fur touched the surface, a cool, sparkling sprinkle of sleepy dust swelled upward around his arm like a ribbon of liquid starlight. His eyelids grew wonderfully heavy, and he leaned back into the cloud's softness, feeling as though the whole world were rocking him like a cradle. Their final stop was the top of Starlight Hill, the highest point in all of Honeywood Forest. Nimbus rose and rose until the air grew thin and sweet, and the sky opened up around them like a cathedral made of darkness and diamonds. The stars seemed close enough to touch. They hung in clusters and ribbons and great sweeping rivers of light, and each one hummed its own tiny note, and together they made a harmony so beautiful that Bella's eyes filled with happy tears. Together, Milo and Bella reached their paws toward the sky, and a warm, twinkling sprinkle of sleepy dust floated down like confetti made of wishes, settling on their fur, their noses, their heavy eyelids. Both cubs could barely keep their eyes open now. The world had become soft and blurred and perfectly safe. Nimbus turned for home. The cloud glided through the night sky with the smoothness of a swan crossing still water, and the cubs nestled deeper into its warmth, curling together the way they had when they were very small. Milo wrapped his arm around Bella, and Bella tucked her nose against his shoulder, and the cloud hummed its lullaby, and the stars wheeled slowly overhead. Nimbus lowered them onto the soft, mossy ground right outside their tree stump home, and there was Mama Bear, waiting with open arms and warm quilts that smelled like cedar and love. She gathered her cubs against her chest and wrapped them up, and Milo and Bella turned their sleepy faces toward the sky and whispered, "Thank you" to Nimbus. The cloud glowed a soft, happy pink, the color of contentment.
Thank you, Nimbus.
The color of a promise kept, and then it drifted upward, rising back into the night to continue its journey, sprinkling sleepy dust over every little creature in the forest. Mama Bear carried them inside and tucked them into their cozy beds, pulling the quilts up to their chins and pressing kisses to their foreheads. Milo's eyes were already closed. Bella's breathing had already slowed to the gentle rhythm of deep, peaceful sleep, but through the open window, carried on the cool night breeze, they could still hear the faintest hum of Nimbus's lullaby, floating across the treetops, growing softer and softer, like a song remembering itself. And right now, at this very moment, Nimbus is floating over your house too. Can you feel it? That gentle warmth settling over you, that heaviness in your eyelids, that feeling of being perfectly safe and perfectly loved. That is the sleepy dust drifting down through the night, finding its way to you. So close your eyes now, snuggle up tight. Let the lullaby carry you away, just as it carried Milo and Bella into the sweetest, softest, most wonderful dreams. Good night, little one.